Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you how to make the Hamza, Jeffery and Adonis animations. Now just a quick disclaimer, I'm just a video editor, I'm not really an animator, so I don't know exactly how these animations are made, but I'm going to try to show you how to replicate them as best as I know through DaVinci Resolve, which is a free editor if you don't know, and that's the one that I use for all of my editing. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is get the Jeffery and Adonis PNGs. So in his videos, if you watch those little intros that he does, you can see that he uses multiple PNGs of Jeffery, multiple PNGs of Adonis from different angles. Like some are the back of their heads, some are the full body, some are just the headshot of it. So you need to get multiple PNGs of this. And looking on Google here, there isn't really many that you can get at all when you search up Hamza, Jeffery and Adonis PNG. So they're not really readily available on the internet. So I think the best option here is either one, you can maybe try to cut this out here and just take this, that might even be faster from the few images that there are, or you can draw them yourself. And the thing about this is you can actually make your own characters. They don't have to be Jeffery and Adonis. They can basically be whoever you want. So to draw them, I'm going to use Pixlr, which is a free online video editor. I could use Photoshop, and you can also follow along with Photoshop, but for the sake of this video, I like doing everything so someone can make it without spending any money on Photoshop. So I'm just going to use Pixlr, but feel free to follow along whatever software you're using because it's pretty simple. So what you want to do when you're on Pixlr is first you want to click Create New, and then let's just go with the wide 1080p, the 1920 by 1080p, because that is the resolution I'm assuming that you're going to be editing the video in, okay? And then what we're gonna do is just add a white background. So you can just go over to the shape tool and just make it white and just drag right there. Again, you can even take a picture from here and try to trace it. What I would do is just like take the picture, download it to your computer, upload it here, and then turn the opacity down a little bit and just try to trace it. Okay, so I just took this video for example, and you can also go to a specific video of Hamza's if you want to get certain angles of Jeffery and Adonis's face, and then just go ahead and screenshot them to make it easy. So the screenshot on Windows, if you didn't know, is the Windows key, Shift, and S all together, and then it will pop up this window, and then you can just drag and take a screenshot. Then you have to go on, click on this pop-up in the bottom right, and save it. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and trace it. So this should be fairly straightforward, so I'll just speed up this process. And before that, you actually can turn down the opacity of the image just so you can see your own drawing a little bit better. And feel free to mess with the size and the softness of the brush just to see which one looks best. And also, I forgot to say, make sure you go down to here, create a new empty layer above the screenshot, and then start your drawing from there. Okay, so I just finished the drawing, and if you turn the visibility off on the screenshot, you can see how yours looks. And honestly, it doesn't look too bad, especially since I was only using a trackpad. It'll probably look a little bit better if you spend a little more time on it. And the thing about these is it's going to take a little bit of time because these PNGs aren't available online, but you can reuse them over and over again in your videos, so it will be worth it. And also the reason why I didn't add pupils to his eyes is because in the video he actually animates the pupils going back and forth, as you can see. You can see they're moving, so we can actually do this inside DaVinci Resolve, and I'll show you how to add that in later in this video. So now we just need to make sure this is closed off, so when I fill this with white, it doesn't fill the whole page. So I'm just going to close it off like this, and that should work fine. So then we're going to take off the background, go to the fill tool, make sure white is the top color, so you can just click X to switch it, or if you want to just switch the color, that works too, and just click in here. You also need to fill in the eyes with white. And I actually forgot to fill in this line here, so let me just do that really quick. Switch back to black, and alright. Okay, so I also forgot to mention that you need to take out the eyes of Jeffery just so you can animate them later in DaVinci Resolve. So how I'm gonna do this really quick is take this wand select tool, just make sure that the tolerance is a good number, like 32, otherwise it won't work. And you just click delete on each of them. And this is gonna be important for later when we're actually animating the eyes. So then you just wanna go to File, Save, PNG, make sure transparent is checked, and then you wanna save as. Okay, so now drag it into DaVinci Resolve, and you wanna go into the Fusion page. And you can click this little button right here, to make the screen bigger. And what you want to do here is take a background node. So it's going to be this one right here, drag it down, and then go ahead and merge. Make sure you select the background node and make it white. Then select the merge node and then adjust the size of it so it's around this big. And then you can move it around to make sure it covers his eyes. Okay, and also what you can do is go to operator, this operator section, and then make sure it is under. So then what you want to do is take the ellipse tool, it's going to be this one right here, drag it down, take another background node, drag the ellipse tool into the background node, and make sure it's black. It's going to be like that by default, so you shouldn't have to do anything. And then drag the end of the background node into the square. It's important that you drag it right on the square to make it merge. Okay, and then what you want to do is take this ellipse and just to adjust the size, because when you adjust it normally, it's just going to adjust either the width or the height. So to adjust both of them, you want to right click on the width, then go to expression at the bottom here, and then you will see this little plus sign. What you want to do is click and hold on the plus sign, drag it to the height, and now you've connected the width to the height. So now when you adjust the height, it will adjust both of them. So you can adjust the size, and then go ahead and adjust the eyes. You can hold on the number and drag for a little bit finer adjustments. And let's say I want to make the pupil this big. Okay, that works. And then you want to go to the merge, and you want to make sure this pupil is behind the Jeffery drawing, but also still above the white background that we put earlier. Okay, so to make this work, you actually need to take this background and merge node, hold shift, drag, and then you can take it out. And drag this back here, highlight this, and then highlight the merge node, hold shift again. If it disconnects, you can just connect it back. And for this one, you want to make sure it's under, and then for this one, click under again. So now you can see the pupil is actually under the Jeffery drawing, but it's over the white background. Okay, so now I'm going to add the second one. So you can just click on this ellipse tool, click Control C, Control V to copy and paste, and then it should be added in here. And then you want to go ahead and drag this to the other eye. I'm not going to mess with it too much, but you can adjust the size of them to make it look a little more realistic. So I'm going to move this merge down to make room for another node. It's going to be this node right here, which is the transform node. You can just drag it into this chain of nodes. Now when you move them, it's going to affect both of the pupils. Okay, so I'm just going to Control Z that. And this is the important part. This is probably one of the easiest ways to animate if you just want to do a really quick and scrappy animation. So what you can do is make sure you're selected on the transform node. Then you also want to make sure on this keyframe timeline here, you want to make sure you're on frame 0 or whatever frame you want the animation to start at. Okay, so once you have the transform node selected, then what you want to do is set a keyframe on the center here. And this center row is the X value and the Y value. So this will affect the position of it. So when you set a keyframe on wherever you want to start the animation, then this little menu will pop up with all of these icons. You want to click this one that's called Draw Append right here. And then now what this will do is once you press play, like as soon as you press play, you can go ahead and move this thing around and the animations will be recorded live. So I'll show you what I mean in a second here. So I'm just going to hit play. All right, and then when you stop, and let's move back here. So when I click play, as it was already playing, I just clicked this little thing to move it around, and I just moved the transform node around while it was, I guess you could say, recording, because that's what Draw Pen does. So then when you play it back, you can see the eyeballs move just by itself, and you don't have to animate every little movement. So this is a really easy and fast way to animate. Let's say you wanted to animate with that, you wanted to animate Jeffrey's whole face. Then what you can do is take another transform node and drag it to the end here. Dragging the transform node to the end of the node chain will affect all of this before, okay? And the reason why the transform node only affects the eyeballs is because it is right in front of the two ellipses that we added that represent the pupils, and it doesn't really affect anything else. So now by adding the transform node at the end, and you want to add it one before the media out, because the media out is just whatever shows on the final edit, then you can go ahead and do the same thing. So make sure you're on frame 0 or whatever frame you want to start at. Click on the center, then click draw append, and then you can just repeat the same process by clicking play and then moving it around as well. So as you can see, when I click play, the eyeballs will move and Jeffrey will also move at the same time. So you can do basically whatever you want with this animation, and it's a really easy and simple way to get these animations done in a really short amount of time. And also you can apply the same principles that I showed with this Jeffrey one to Adonis as well, or whatever character you want it to be. Now I'm going to show you how to replicate a couple of other effects and animations that I've seen in Hamza's video. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is go on the transform nodes, delete them just for now for this next example. Okay, so we have Jeffrey right here, and let's say we want to make a quick camera shake animation, but you want it to be a little bit cleaner and less scrappy. So then it's actually very easy to do. And let's say in this one, we actually want to add a background. So you can literally search up anything you want. Like let's say you want to search up person running. So just take this image for example, and then drag it into DaVinci Resolve. So then I'm going to just click on this transform thing. This is a really quick way to do it. There's many other ways to do it, like the transform node in the Fusion page. It's a little more flexible if you do it that way, but let's say I just want to put Jeffrey onto this guy. You can just do your animations like that. Also, I want to show you one more animation. Okay, so for this one, we're going to get Adonis, or you can just say Giga Chad. Either one really works. So let's just say you take this basic picture of him, drag it into here. Okay, so I'm just going to delete these two images. Okay, let's say you have this. Then for this effect, you also want to go to YouTube, and you actually want to search up speed lines green screen. Now you can go scroll through these, see whatever you want. Now you can just go ahead and copy the link. I personally use something called 4K video downloader to download YouTube videos. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and download that. It's completely free. Also, if you don't want to download a whole application, you can just go and search up YT2MP3 and you can find a bunch of them. Some of them are a little bit sketchy, but it should get the job done. Once you have them, if there's an audio, make sure you just click on them, unlink the clips, and then go ahead and delete the audio. Also, if this first frame is black, you can go ahead and click on here and then just Control Shift, and it's going to be the left bracket, and then you can just delete everything to the left of the playhead of the clip, and then you can get rid of that first frame. Then let's just make this a little bit shorter. Now what you want to do is go ahead and click on this, go to the Fusion page, make sure this is selected, and you have to make sure your playhead is over this clip. Go to Fusion, and then you want to press Control Space, and it will bring up this little tool menu, and you can actually search up Delta Keyer. Go ahead and click Add. It will add it to your node chain, and then you want to click on this background color thing here, and then take this little eyedropper tool and just select the green, and it will get rid of it. So then let's say you want to do a really clean zoom in animation. So there is multiple ways to do this. You can do this in the inspector tab with this zoom thing and the keyframes here, but you can't really get that smooth of an animation. You can get a very steady one, but if you actually go into the Fusion tab and put a transform node, actually you will need to move this out of the way for now, or you can just disable this video track, either one you want to do. But make sure that this is the top clip, because that's the only way it will show in Fusion. Then what you want to do is put a transform node on here. And this way the animation is going to be a little more versatile since it's in the Fusion page. So to do the zoom in animation, you want to put a keyframe wherever you want to start the animation. If it's at frame 0, frame 20, whatever you want to do. Click a keyframe on the size, and then let's say I want it to end at frame 12, for example. Then at frame 12, I'm going to zoom in however much I want to zoom in. Let's say like that much. And let's say actually at frame 0, let's say I want to zoom out a little bit to like around here. Then what you have is a very simple animation here, but it's a very steady one. So to make it a little more abrupt and really quick in and out, then what you can do is go ahead to this spline tab, make sure it's selected, it's up here, and then you want to go ahead and click on these three dots, click select all tools, and then you want to click this little box to make sure you can see everything. But use these little controls to zoom out if you can't see the full thing. And then you highlight, make sure you highlight both of these little keyframes here. And then you want to just click S on your keyboard and it will smooth everything out. And then to make it even more abrupt, you can click T on your keyboard and then you have the ease in and ease out. So I'm gonna boost the ease in a ton, so it's really, really abrupt. So now when I play the animation, it's gonna be much cleaner. You can see it's much smoother, it's much more abrupt. So if you wanna get an animation that looks a lot more like that, this is basically how you do it. And now if we go back into the edit tab, I can add the speed lines on, and now you have a very, very cool looking Adonis animation intro, like that. So this looks like something straight out of Hamza's video. And keep in mind, you can do all of these same principles and animations for Adonis, as I already showed you with Jeffery. Hopefully with these examples, you can make some of your own intros. Even you can use some of your own characters. If you don't mind subscribing if you want to see more content like this. Also, if you want to help me a little bit, there is a couple affiliate links in the description. One is to Epidemic Sound that I actually use, and also something called Envato Elements, which has a ton of DaVinci Resolve templates. They actually have like 2,000 or something like that. I might be wrong, but it's something crazy like that. I personally use Envato Elements. Also, you can get your music there if you don't want to use Epidemic Sound. So I would highly recommend, if you want to improve your editing game on DaVinci Resolve, both of those links are going to help you out. If you want to leave a comment telling me what video I should make next, if you have any ideas, I really appreciate those comments, and I usually make video ideas. This video was actually made based on a comment I got on an earlier video, so feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you want to learn how to make text effects like Iman Gadzhi and Hamza, I have this video that I made here that did pretty well, so I'd really recommend you check that out.